What people don't tell you about having a spiritual awakening is that it comes with many losses, and it can lead to the sensation of depression or anxiety or fear or anhedonia. It could lead to a feeling of incompleteness or a feeling of unworthiness, or a feeling also of needing to seek something more, seek answers, read books, fill your day up with practices or goals or ambitions. But if we remember, prior to coming into an awareness of something more than the physical life, if we recall how we would seek happiness by traveling, shopping, accumulating things, and achieving financial goals, being that girl or that guy, striving after degrees and accolades from the society, or whatever it was for you. But it always led to this empty feeling. And it always led to needing more, seeking more, never being finished, never having enough of whatever the target object, experience, person would be. That was before awakening. Those are behaviors of the conditioned person to think this is what it takes to be happy in society, what it takes to be successful in our society. So then we translate that over to after we realize there's more than the physical life. We reboot the idea of being a seeker to be happy, to be whole, to know something, to have all the wisdom, to have all the knowledge, to have that Kundalini experience to tell the story. We may even seek to be a teacher or a guru. We may even seek to be a sound bath healer because we want to have an achievement or we want to give back. There's nothing wrong with doing any of these things. What is focused on here is the push, the internal drive to seek something outside of ourself for satisfaction, contentment, and fulfillment in terms of trying to be whole and complete as a being. And this will lead down many roads. It could lead you into the hands of many New Age spiritual occult practices, paradigms, all off the track of finding all is self within yourself. And after spending some time doing these things myself, I realized that I was reading every book. I was listening to every podcast. I was consuming so much material that I was drowning in it. The deluge completely watered down whatever my own inner intuition had to say. And I still find myself catching myself from that, being the perfectionist, high-achieving person that I was groomed to be. There's nothing wrong with these things. This is just the process of life. This is how to transform and metamorphosize yourself. And I'm sharing how the realization has come to me that seeking anything outside of me is pointless. And the feeling of loss or letting go of things, any feeling of sadness over that should be acknowledged, but it's also pointless. Because on a sidebar, if anything is real, it's going wherever you're going anyway. You'll never lose anything. But back to the subject at hand. And so I realized that I would try to have the perfect meditation, have the perfect setup, be in the cross-legged position, candles, or I would lie down, whichever the position was that I would try to do. Yoga nidra, whatever it would be. Go for a walk, walking meditation. Until I realized that that's my ego. The ego is, again, taking control, telling me I need to do something to be me. Telling me that there's something external to the being that I am, which needs to be accomplished before I can achieve something. Telling me I need to have this extravagant Kundalini experience to be legitimized as a spiritual being. Seeking external validation again. And then I realized every single day, even thinking, even knowing and feeling that way, that I would still wake up, feel like, okay, I need to accomplish these things. I need to do my stuff. I need to have my routine and my practice, only for it to be Groundhog's Day and no real tangible growth was taking place. In the beginning, tons of growth was taking place, because that's a complete transformation from a completely physical death at the end of 72 years cycle type life, where the fear and everything that's driven by society is what it is. That's all it is. But once I was able to let go of those beliefs, the transformation was incredible. But now I'm talking about those who are awake and aware, but are still seeking that height, that proof that is so celebrated by a lot of people, this enlightenment. Why would we need to seek something we already and always have been? That's the ego telling us to seek something. And the ego is so tricky. It's so creative that it will have us doubting ourselves. It will have us looking outwards. It doesn't want to assimilate. It doesn't want to let go of control. It wants to steer the craft. And your vessel doesn't belong to your ego. And so what am I saying? I'm saying, take it easy on yourself. If your intuition is telling you to read these books, do all this work, spiritual work, to do anything external to yourself, follow that path for sure. Follow your intuition. But if your intuition is even telling you just a little bit that, yeah, you know what? You're good already. You're good. You're already there. Trust it. And I don't say to abolish all of your practices and not stay mindful and not do your meditations and not keep your aura clean and not, stay in balanced vibrations, because those are the things that keep you optimally functional in this false matrix and keeps you in the trajectory towards when you do leave this husk, not repeating this cycle. And now I know that there are people who are serving a purpose in teaching, helping to alert others of what's going on. This is not to belittle anyone like that. Because even these major teachers, or even some of the minor ones, or some of the ones who may sit on the side of what people so-called evil, right? They're teachers. But within them, at some point, too, these leaders in the field must sit with themselves and know they've done enough and rest. And don't listen to the accuser saying you need to save the world, you haven't done enough. Because even wanting to be balanced in a sick society such as this one, you've done enough. You've done more than enough to wake up, to see the world with new eyes, to hold love in your heart. And so that's where I'll leave you today with that thought of the depression, the anxiety, the fear, the anger, the embitteredness that you may feel day to day as you go through Groundhog's Day of your spiritual practice, and you may come to a stalemate, or what do we call it? Stagnancy, that's the better word. Stagnancy in your growth, maybe because you're already there. And all that seeking is just busy work. And so now what do we do? What do you do? What do we do? What do we do with our day? Do nothing. How about doing nothing? How about not worrying about a thing? How about when all those little triggers that tells you, oh, I have to do this or I have to do that, you just take a day off randomly and sit in solitude and do nothing. And yeah, I think that's the key. I think that's the overall key to all of this, is realizing that there was never anything for us to do. There was never any dragons to slay. It's just us being here, being still, realizing that our love, our thoughts, our emotions are what create this world that we live in, our personal world that we live in. And being an observation to the matrix is just that. It's a glance over. It's a look at it, but not a taking it in, being consumed by it. If you allow yourself to become unmindful of this, then you may just fall back to sleep. And please, don't do that.